Good morning and welcome to our 217th weekly webcast. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And so the way this call works is this is an AMA like you see on Reddit. Ask me anything. You can ask me business questions, career questions, finance questions, anything you want to. My goal is to humbly help you take your business or your portfolio or your career to the next level. So without further ado, let's begin. A quick housekeeping note for anybody that signed up for any of my gold and platinum and silver MBA degree programs. I added the first technology programming module, it's very long, to your curriculum. I also teach you everything, and I mean everything you need to know about Microsoft Excel in your curriculum. Now, there's a beginner track, an intermediate track, a genius track, and an all track. So there's a massive total addressable market for this new technology elective to the course, to the program that is. You don't have to have any experience with Excel or programming to take it and to learn how to use and enjoy using Excel and programming. Now, the way to access the elective is go to your curriculum. And once you're on the curriculum, just hit Control F in your browser for the word elective. Thank you. And let me get to your questions. Took me over a year to make it, and it's exclusively available to my MBA students. Okay, let me kick it off with Eminem, who wrote, "Good morning, Chris. Hope you had a great start with the 2023 batch of students." I did, thank you. We started our 6 one-year gold and platinum MBA degree program this past Monday. It's every Monday and Tuesday from 4 until 7 Pacific time for 1 year. And we got a great batch as always. Yeah. Then you wrote, "It's a great program to join if anyone's on the fence." Thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah. And anybody that joined gold and platinum, we are sold out, but just know if you're watching, you have a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. Thank you. Okay, I'm the worst salesman ever. Okay. All right. Next question is, are there any recession-proof businesses that you have in mind? Yeah. Anything that's consumer product oriented is usually, or consumer staples, I should say, is usually recession-proof. Companies like Procter & Gamble, ticker PG, companies like Campbell's Soup, ticker CPB, because soup is good food. They're both recession-proof because, during recessions, people still have to eat. So it's somewhat counter-cyclical. Also, some people believe that historically speaking, gold is somewhat recession-proof as well. It's all relative, of course. In 2008, when bank machines were within 24 hours of not working, my biggest position in my hedge fund at that point in time was ticker GLD, which is an ETF or exchange-traded fund for gold. Yeah. So basically, just think about any companies that people are still going to be consuming their products, regardless of whether we're in a recession. Yeah. And if you want, what you can do is you can use what's called the dogs of the Dow theory, which stipulates that you take the 5 largest dividend-paying companies in the Dow 30. And usually they tend to outperform during economic recessions. Now, I've gotten a lot of questions about what is this yield curve thing and what is an inverted yield curve and what the heck does it mean if it's telling us that we're going to recession. So I'm going to show you very quickly because I have done this before. So if you're curious about the yield curve, it's basically, it analyzes the interest rates the United States government sets in the near term. And then what it does is it forecasts based on market supply and demand what rates will be. And if we go to treasury.gov, okay, that's the United States Department of Treasury, a website, then what we can do is we can go here to data, and then we select daily Treasury par yield curve rates. And we can see here that as of right now, okay, this is the 1 month, and this is the 30 year. Okay, now the Federal Reserve raised interest rates by 25 basis points yesterday, which is slower than the previous 50 basis point hike. Unlike in Europe, as the Bank of England and the ECB today raised rates by 50 basis points, which means 0.5%. So let's take a quick look here. Okay, whoops. Let's go to 2023, and I'll hit apply. Okay, great. So right here, we look at the 1 month and the 30 year. Okay, so the 1 month yield curve right now, this is pretty extreme, is showing rates of 4.59%. And over here, we see the 30 year, which is 3.55%. That is a massive over 1% or 100 basis point differential. And what that's telling us is rates are high now, higher, and people are expecting rates to be lower in 30 years. And that signals that people are very worried about the United States economy. Why? Because if in the future the government has to cut rates, it means that the economy is not doing well. And this is very rare to see an inverted yield curve like this. And it basically signals, and has signaled in about 10 of the past 10 or so recessions, that we're going to have a recession if we're not already in one. And that's one of the reasons why the Federal Reserve has stopped raising rates by 50 or 75 basis points. A lot of people think that the Federal Reserve in the United States will probably raise rates by 25 basis points, maybe a couple more times this year. And perhaps by the end of this year or early 2024, they'll start to cut interest rates. Now, it's crucial for governments to raise interest rates when we see inflation, because if inflation gets out of control, then we do not have an economy. Okay. All right. Let's see. Next up, Chetan wrote, Professor Chris, how are you? Can you explain why put-call parity cannot be applied to American options? Yeah. So that's going to be tough for me to do. So for those of you not familiar with American versus European options, American options, you can cash them out whenever you want. European, you have to wait until the very last day. Now, most options are American, and it has nothing to do with being physically in the United States or not. So the way that a put works, if you're curious, is a put is basically a way to bet against a stock. So let's say that you think GameStop is going to go down. Now, GameStop, as we know, went up about 30 times in January of 2021. And a lot of hedge funds, including Melvin Capital and others, went short GameStop because they thought, hey, it's a pandemic. People are staying home. They're not going to go buy video games from a store. And also, in the long run, people are going to download games. So what funds did was they shorted GameStop, and then the Reddit crowd and other people online drove the price up, and hedge funds like Melvin declared bankruptcy in May of 2021. Instead, you could have bought a put, okay? And the most you can lose on a put is whatever you paid for it. So if we have Coca-Cola stock here, KO is a ticker, and we want protection, we can buy a put, okay? It's a protective code, adorable. And the most we can lose if Coke goes up is this amount. If Coke goes down, we can make a bit of money on this. So always look at potentially purchasing puts instead of shorting stocks where the losses are unlimited. Now, what I can do is I can actually show you my options templates if you want to, and I can value any option you want me to, okay? Just let me know the ticker, and I'll load it up right now, and I'll show you exactly how to do it. I have a 30-hour elective on how to do derivatives and advanced options in my MBA degree program. Thank you. Okay. Put call parity. There's too much math involved. Sounds like a football parody. But I remember back in 1999 when I was at Columbia, we did the theory on that. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Michael wrote, many companies are laying off staff. Yeah, it's rough. Food inflation, governments, and individuals are carrying high levels of debt. Housing prices are declining, yet the VIX is falling. Something is not right here. Yeah. So for those of you familiar with the VIX, it was created by the Chicago Board of Exchange, CBOE, back in 1990. And what it does is it analyzes what the volatility is going to be for the S&P 500 stocks within the next 30 days. And whenever you see a reading above 70 or 80, which rarely happens, but it does, then that means there's maximum fear because there's maximum volatility. And that's when you back up the truck and buy stocks no matter what. It feels like the world is ending, but you have to buy stocks then. And it peaked, that spiked and peaked together to above 70 in the fall of 2008, where you almost had a generational low of stocks. The actual low was March of 2009. And it peaked to above 80, an all-time high, in March of 2020, when the price of oil went negative. People were panic selling. So when you see the VIX spike above 70 or 80, which is rare, you buy stocks no matter what. Again, it's going to feel like, it's the end of the world, but you got to buy when there's blood in the streets, because as Warren Buffett said, you got to be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. So in terms of why is the VIX not high right now? It's partially because people notice that the United States government is starting to increase rates at a smaller rate. And so people think that, hey, the market discounts what's going to happen in 6 months. And so a lot of people think we will find a market bottom within 6 months or so. Yeah. Okay. Only use the VIX as your signal to buy stocks in size when the reading is above 70 or 80, which again is rare. Happy to show you an example of the VIX with a chart if you want me to. And thank you. Okay. Andre, how are you? Andre wrote, happy birthday. Thank you. I'm 51 today. Crazy. It's unbelievable. I still feel like a man-child. I'm 7.5. Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. It's crazy. And then you wrote, today I joined the 50 Club. Welcome to the 50 Club. Dude, life starts at 50. So if you go back to the 1950s, the average life expectancy was 26 years younger than it is today. So although you're 50, you're really 24. You're really 24. Yeah. Now, in terms of layoffs, it's rough right now. It's really hard. The past couple of months, it was mainly technology companies that were letting people go. You know, now it's larger companies like Federal Express, for example, and many others. And the reason it's taking a little while for people to let people go is because, outside of the tech sector, is because when the Federal Reserve raises interest rates, it can sometimes take 6 months or so until that filters through and impacts the economy. Now, the reason that the European markets have been massively outperforming the American markets is because the European markets are not as dependent on technology companies as we see in the United States. 23% of the S&P 500 here in the United States is in technology companies. And technology companies overhired during the pandemic, and now I think they're overfiring. They're not just cutting into fat, they're cutting into muscle. So Europe is not as dependent as US is on technology stocks. Also, over the past few months on average, it's been a little bit warmer than expected in Europe, which helps because you don't have to pay as much for natural gas to heat your house. And the last reason why Europe is being outperforming the United States is because there's speculation that China is going to continue to open up in the post-pandemic world, which is very positive for luxury goods companies in Europe, which comprises a larger percent of the European markets than it does the United States. Okay, next up we have who wrote, Chris, do you know Peter Diamandis, the CEO of the X Prize Foundation? I do not, sorry. I've heard of his name, though. I'm asking because you both look like identical twins. He's ugly like me. Yeah, just kidding. If you can Google search for this, I'd love to see the reaction. Awesome. I got to tell you, though, man, like during the COVID crisis, when I would wear this thing, I would get a lot more women checking me out because they couldn't see the disaster hiding behind this, which is this. I'm like a scud, my massive nose. Yeah. All right, I'll do a search on Peter Diamandis to see if he's as fugly as I am. That means freaking ugly. Okay. All right, Peter. Google will correct me. Okay. There we go. Oh, dude, he does look like me. He's better looking, though. Oh, my God, that is too funny. Wow. I have greenish eyes, though, which is why I have blue in the background, because when I do green screen my eyes, it looks like you could see into my soul. Yeah, that is so funny, man. Dude, that's scary. He does look a lot like me. Yeah. And I bet when he stands sideways, it's not as disastrous. So he's better looking than I am. Yeah. Hey, man, if you can't laugh at yourself, you can't laugh at anything, right? Thank you for that. Okay. All right. But I bet he's not 51 like me. Okay. All right. Next up, Andre wrote, where can we go to look at commodities? How do we use the data to make better investment decisions? Yeah. So I recommend the best way to look at commodities is to actually look at ETFs, and I'll show you. Never buy mutual funds. Mutual funds are an absolute ripoff. Now, at the beginning of today's webcast, I mentioned gold and ticker GLD. So we'll take a look at that first. So we go to finance.yahoo.com together. Come on, finance. You can do it. And then what we're going to do, this is me buying time, is you type up the ticker GLD. Okay. And we can do silver, copper, etc. Okay. So I'll type GLD here. And this is my preferred way to actually buy commodities, and gold. And the reason is because I know it's real, right? If I went to buy gold bars in some seedy part of the city, it might not be real. Plus the fees here are 0.4%, which is not too bad. So every $100 I put into gold, I pay 40 cents per year in fees, and it's also very liquid, as you can see right here. You can also do this for other commodities as well. So you can buy the iShares Silver Trust, which is basically just silver as well. The fees are a bit higher because fewer people buy this versus gold. And the average volume is amazing as well, albeit on a lower pricing point. So that's where I would look to buy commodities. Yeah. Okay. Okay. The Berlin from San Bernardino, who's in my MBA class last year. It's great to see you. How are you? And by the way, for all my gold and platinum students, I have my annual, it's going to be annual now, graduation and in-person networking event. It's going to be this August 12th and 13th. That's a Saturday, Sunday here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Even if you haven't graduated from my gold and MBA programs over the past 6 years of classes, you can attend, or 6 groups, I should say. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. And when you're in the San Francisco Bay Area, which is where we're going to hold it, please know you always have a place to stay, all of you. And what I mean by that is the awful San Francisco Ramada, San Francisco Holiday Inn, the Hilton, etc. No, I hope to see you in person, buddy. And you're local, so I hope to see you. Okay. Let's see. Next up. So the Berlin wrote, Chris, what do you think about the market rallying and all these companies beating earnings with layoffs? Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, companies are cutting into muscle. I think they're overdoing it. But usually companies beat earnings by more than just a couple of percent. Usually it's between 5 and 10%. So yes, they are beating their earnings guidance, but by a smaller amount. Now, whenever companies, and CFOs in particular, provide revenue and earnings guidance on a quarterly and annual basis to the street, they obviously set a number that they know they're going to beat by a bunch. So the magnitude of the beats is a little bit smaller now. Now, there's 2 ways to grow earnings. One is cutting revenue, and the other is cutting expenses. So I take a closer look at revenue. It's easy to beat earnings if you cut. It's hard to beat revenue if you think you might miss towards the end of a quarter. And if you look at companies like Facebook, Facebook had decent earnings result, but revenues, and that's why the stock spiked last night after the market closed. But if you look at revenue, it actually contracted 4.5%, which is scary for a growth company. Yeah. Okay. All right. Pulaski wrote, hey, Chris, how are you? I'm always great, thanks. A year older, but a year younger in my mind. All right. All right. Next up, Chake wrote, hi, everyone. Welcome to our call. First time I've seen you. I hope you join us again. Okay. Next up, Manas from India wrote, happy birthday, my dear mentor. Now you're 51. It's crazy. You're 51. What a wonderful number in Asian traditions, especially Indian culture. 51 is a wonderful number and a lucky number. Let this be the last year of your life. No, I'm just kidding. I made that last part up. Let this be the best of your years ever. Thank you. God bless you. Thanks. I'm 25. Remember, 26 years younger. Okay, moving on to Michael M. So Michael wrote here, do you ever use stock screens for ideas? If not, how do you find investment ideas for further research? Yeah. So if you want to do stock screenings, what I recommend doing is looking at ETFs and then looking at the components of those ETFs. So for example, if you wanted to invest in a semiconductor company, if you thought that semiconductor stocks are oversold given the geopolitical saber rattling going on between Biden and China, then you could type up the SMH, which is an ETF for semiconductors, which I used to short because it's high beta. And what you can then do is look at the components. So let me show you, because when I used to work, I remember I worked at Citadel years ago, great big hedge fund. And my boss used to tell me when I shorted ETFs, he'd say, Haroun, don't be lazy. Look at the components of the ETF and pick a stock. Okay, so I'll show you. So if we go here to the SMH, okay, which is the semiconductor ETF. So if I was bearish on semiconductors, I used to short this a lot because the beta was relatively high. It's 1.3 now. It used to be a lot higher. But what you do is you go to the holdings. So say thematically you wanted to invest in semiconductor companies. So what you can do is you can look at the holdings. So you got Taiwan Semi here, which obviously is Well, it's actually, people are feeling more comfortable about it today because the United States government announced last night that they're going to be opening 4 Air Force bases in the Philippines. You got NVIDIA, you got ASML in Europe, Qualcomm, you got Broadcom as well, and a bunch of other chip companies like Intel. This is a case study for my MBA degree program. Now, if you want to do a screening on ETFs in general, the best website, and everything I tell you is free, is etfdb.com, and that stands for etfdatabase.com. And you can screen by geography, by crypto, by any sector if you want to. Let's say I wanted to invest in, I don't know, a Brazilian ETF. You click here, you can go to EWZ, which is right here. You see the fees, et cetera, if you want to invest in Brazil, which is natural resource rich. One of the biggest components here is Petrobras, which is Petroleum Brazil, not Petroleum Bras. Hi, I'm 7.5 as I turn 51. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, I've got Adil, who wrote, "Hi, Chris. It looks like the housing market has a slight uptick in demand this new year. Yeah. Do you think it's a good time to buy a house, or would you recommend waiting a bit longer?" Yeah. So you have to monitor the 30-year when you go to treasury.gov to see what's happening. And you've seen that the yield curve is inverted, as I showed you at the beginning of today's call, meaning that rates today are high and rates in the future are going down. And so that means that if you want to get a 30-year loan, meaning a mortgage, it's based on that. So that's one of the reasons why people are excited about the housing market, because we have an inverted yield curve. Now, it can be a double-edged sword, though, because if the economy is going to slow down a lot and we're in a recession, then this could indicate that the housing market could get hit hard. You know, the U.S. savings rate went down to only 3% last month versus historical norm a year ago of close to 8 or 9%. Right? So people have less money to save for the down payment. Now, the best way to analyze whether or not you should buy a house is to look at location, as my dad used to tell me. Or my grandfather, God bless him, used to say, "Chrissy, buy land, they're not making it anymore." But what you want to do is you always want to buy the crappiest house in the nicest neighborhood instead of vice versa. And it's all relative as well. So I recommend using Zillow.com or a website similar to that like Redfin, and looking at relative valuations in certain neighborhoods. Yeah. I'm not pulling the trigger yet. I stopped buying real estate over a year ago. Maybe it was 2 years ago at last place I bought in Canada. But I'm starting to look. Yeah, but not yet. Okay. Next up, we got Matthew McLeod from Brantford, Ontario. He's one of my platinum students. Started last year. Great to see you, bud. You wrote, "Is there a Canadian version of the Treasury Bond graph? I can't find anything with 30 years in the future." Yeah. I would do a search for what is the treasury.gov equivalent in Canada. And I guarantee you that there's a Bank of Canada website that has data like that. And if you want today during Zoom, ask me about that in more detail and I'll go down a rabbit hole, which will be fun. We'll go down that rabbit hole together. Yeah. I always smile when I see your name because you look like Owen Wilson. Yeah. Who's better looking than Peter Diamandis. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Eugene wrote, "Good morning, Chris." Good morning. Eugene from Toronto here. Awesome, my people. Fellow 905er here. You wrote, "I'm enjoying the finance and accounting classes in semester 1. Your classes are so much fun. Thank you. And I hope you laugh at me and not with me in that one class where I literally electrocuted myself. And my editor, Matt Lacus, good buddy of mine, he left that in." Yeah. Shocking. Okay. Next up, Manas wrote, "If you wouldn't have been in finance, what would have you done?" Teach or charity work. Yeah. Okay. Well, one teaches to learn. Plus, they say those who can't do, teach. And those who can't teach gym class. And I suck at sports, so you're all out of luck. Yeah. I'm just kidding. Teachers are great. Okay. Let's see what do we got next here. Manas wrote, "What are your thoughts on the ARK ETF with Cathie Wood? She said the Fed is going to destroy the economy and would cause long-term recession. The same are thoughts from Elon Musk." Yeah, I don't know much about Cathie Wood. I've run into her, same circles as her at investor conferences over the year. I'm not as bearish as everybody else. I'm more of an optimist. The fact that unemployment is still relatively low means that the underlying fundamentals of the economy are much better than we've seen in other economic recessions. Yeah, I'm an optimist, though, always. Okay. Next up, has Manas wrote, my mentor, Chris, please. The market is behaving abnormally. Is this the silence before the storm? I don't know. The market can stay irrational longer than we can all stay solvent. We can never be short-term focused. Traders don't make money. You got to be very long-term focused always. I don't know the path, but I know the destination of the stocks I do research on. Yeah. And when Warren Buffett buys stocks, what he does is he assumes, this is out there, but he assumes that the market is going to be closed for 10 years. Obviously, it's not going to be closed for 10 years, but that's how long-term focused he is. And I saw an interview with him the other day. And by the way, he is so awesome, not because he's a great investor, but I think more importantly because he's a great communicator. He took a public speaking course by Dale Carnegie when he was 19 that changed his life. But he once said in this interview I saw the other day that with Coca-Cola, if you had invested in Coca-Cola when it went public in 1919 or whatever, it went down 50% in the first year. But if you had held on to those shares, regardless of whether you bought it on day one or after 1 year, you'd have made a fortune. Same thing with Apple, etc. So you got to be very, very long-term focused. This whole concept of chasing waves or trying to make money from volatility and trading, it just doesn't work. And I say with love in my heart, I have a lot of students that I've convinced over the years not to be a day trader. It doesn't work. Every month has 20 days the market's open, meaning 20 weekdays. And making money every month is impossible. You get fooled by randomness. The worst thing that can happen is you start to become a trader and you make money on the first day. Because that's commensurate with saying you go to a casino for the first time and you put a quarter in a one-armed bandit and you make money and you think it's repeatable. It's not. Yeah. And if you don't believe me, do a search on famous day traders. I don't know anyone's name. Yeah. Okay. And I say with love in my heart, as always. Okay. And then Daniel, who just started my MBA program this week, he wrote, 51 is young, awesome. And I hope to meet you as well, buddy. I know you're based here on the left coast, the west coast. Yeah. Okay. Okay, moving on to Michael, who wrote, what's your opinion of covered calls writing to increase income? I'd be very, very, very careful with that, please. Anytime you're going to be selling or underwriting or shorting, same thing. Selling, writing, underwriting. Selling, writing, underwriting, same thing. An option, your losses can be unlimited. Okay, so when you buy a put, the most you can lose is what you paid for this put, right? If the stock goes down a lot, the put's based on, say, Coca-Cola, for example, you can make a lot of money. But think about who's on the other side of that trade. What can be deadly is when you sell calls, though. It's even worse because the most you can lose, with underwriting a put, is if the stock goes down to zero if you sell it. With a call, it can be unlimited. So just be very careful. And if you want, what I've done is in my MBA degree program, in the fourth semester, in a class called FA44, meaning Finance and Accounting Semester 4, Class 4. What I did was I provided you with many templates and tools and spreadsheets for you to be able to do a lot of investment research and value covered calls, iron butterflies, condors, etc. All types of these options, instruments. But I only recommend buying puts or buying calls initially. If you want to underwrite these things, I want you to practice with a paper portfolio for at least 6 months, please. At least, and maybe longer. Because again, the losses can be unlimited. If we go back to 2008, we were within 24 hours of bank machines not working because of derivatives. And at that point in time, Warren Buffett called derivatives financial weapons of mass destruction. Practice first. Last thing I'll say in this is if you want to practice with the curriculum I provide you with, you can always do a search on Think or Swim, which is an app that you can use on your Mac or Windows or even on your mobile device, made by TD Ameritrade. And you can create a paper portfolio and pretend to trade options. Yeah. Okay. All right. Caroline from France, who now lives in Ontario, who got married in Nova Scotia recently. Congratulations. Wrote, Chris, happy 25th birthday. Thank you. I appreciate it. I feel 7. Yeah. And I still play video games, guys. I'm a man-child. I finished God of War Part 2 last Saturday. It was a masterpiece. Masterpiece. Yeah. Now I'm waiting for GTA 6. And when that comes out, I'm not having a webcast that week. Okay, moving on to Manas, who wrote, I'm practicing options on Thinkorswim. Good. I'm loving it. And by the way, I'm not able to access the options dashboard any other way. And I have a bigger nose than you. And then you wrote, maybe I'll be dope at skiing. Dude, it's great. I'm telling you, man, it's amazing for us athletes here because, you know, it's aerodynamic. Same thing with cycling. You know, like I remember cycling when I was younger, and I was way faster than everybody because, you know, that, yeah, okay. All right. If you're having issues opening up the dashboard, let me know what the issue is. And Manas, you can share it with me, your screen during Zoom today, if you want to. Now, for those of you in different countries, if you can't use TD Ameritrade's app called Thinkorswim, you can set up a VPN and try it out that way. And my favorite VPN, as mentioned by Marcus Brownlee, my favorite vlogger, is called ExpressVPN. I use it all the time. Okay, so you can, and it's like $10 a month. And I'll never be sponsored by anybody. I'm true and pure to my students only as my customers. But ExpressVPN, I recommend getting it. It costs you $10 a month. You can run it on all your devices, desktop, laptop, these things, etc. And you can pretend that you're in different markets. And so when I went to Dubai and when I went to Rwanda a couple summers ago, I would watch baseball games and the All-Star game in Dubai or in Rwanda using this app as well. Yeah, because it doesn't know that you're overseas. Okay, Pulasi wrote, happy birthday, Chris, and thank you for all those emojis too. Thank you. Lots of love. I can't think of a better way to spend my birthday. Okay. Next question is ChatGPT going to beat Google? Yeah, so the T in GPT, right, what that stands for, I can't remember because I'm getting older now. I had a senior moment. But that was actually created by Google. So Google has their own AI engines as well. They're not doing as well as people expected them to do. But ChatGPT is the first notable competition Google has ever seen since the company was founded in late 1998 by Sergey and Larry. But the problem with ChatGPT is that it's confidently wrong. Be careful with it. So you have to double check everything it provides you with, especially anything involving formulas and numbers. It's ridiculous. You know, earlier this year, if you had done a search on ChatGPT of tell me who the CEO of Twitter is, it would say Elon Musk. And it also said, I think at one point, Elon Musk may have passed away, which is not true, of course. And the ironic thing about that is ChatGPT is only based on data before 2021, way before Elon Musk became CEO of Twitter. Yeah, so always double check it, please. Now, what Microsoft is doing, Microsoft invested $1 billion in ChatGPT a couple of years ago, actually back in 2019. And ChatGPT might have an IPO, according to people familiar with the matter, of about $29 billion soon. But Microsoft has invested billions of more dollars in ChatGPT. And by this March, if you use Bing, which basically means if you work at Microsoft, if you use Bing to search, your responses will be using ChatGPT as well. Yeah. I do think ChatGPT will take share away from Google, and it's about time. You know, competition's good for the consumer. You know, Google owns the two biggest search engines in the world, Google, as well as YouTube. And I think antitrust has to break them up. I do. Okay. Unlike other YouTubers, I don't say positive things about YouTube all the time. All right. All right. Next up, the Berlin wrote, Chris, what platform do you use to buy ETFs? And what have you heard of? Have you heard of M1 Finance? I have not. M1 is just a measure of liquidity of capital. So I use Fidelity and a couple other platforms as well. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Christina. Hey, Christina, how are you? Christina is our fearless leader. She was the head of our alumni network. She's amazing. I miss you. She graduated from my MBA degree program along with her husband, Christian, 2 years ago, I think it was. Great to see you. And she's helping out also with the graduation. And thank you so much, Christina, for helping me with the graduation back in 2021. You saved years off of my life. Yeah, thank you. And God bless you. You're our fearless leader. So Christina wrote, good morning, Chris, our amazing global MBA and Webcast family. It's always great to see you. Lots of love to Christian and Isabella as well. Yeah. Okay. And then Christina wrote, oh, happy birthday. Thank you. Thank you for the cake, the gâteau. Hope you had a great time celebrating. Cheers, Chris. Oh, good. I missed this. You wrote, I'm at the 9 a.m. water line and 300 steps. How about you? So for my steps, see why I'm not as healthy now? Because you're not asking me this as much anymore. In terms of water, I'm at 9:30, so a little bit ahead of my schedule. In terms of my steps, and I say steps because my Spanish girlfriend years ago said, Chris, I want some space. Still scarred. Just kidding. Okay. Steps, I'm at 200 for now, but I will get over 25,000 today, like I have been getting every day lately. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and I'm almost done my book, guys. So I've got a McGraw-Hill. I signed a contract with them to write a book. It's part of the McGraw-Hill Essentials series. And so these are just samples, presentation essentials, communication essentials, coaching essentials. My book will be out later this year called Finance Essentials. Yeah. Should be fun. Okay. Next up, Manas wrote, in India, options are strange. It's a bigger market than the United States, even. India. It's huge. In India, options are strange, like different stocks have different lots. For example, the Nifty 50 has a minimum of 50 per lot, and it's different for other stocks. Does this happen in Robinhood? No, usually the way it works with options, I'd be careful of that and keep trading the paper portfolio just in case. Options are always in lots of 100. Yeah. Maybe it's different on certain markets globally, but I haven't seen that before. Yeah, I'll show you. Okay. So, and what I'll do is I'll use an Indian stock for options to show you here. Okay, so let's go to, was it Wipro? Right here. Okay, let's see if we can get options on this. It's pretty damn liquid. Yeah, So if we click here on options for Wipro, and the options, there's really not too much here in terms of the option market. It's highly illiquid here, but we have options here. And basically, if you wanted to buy this option here, this one's a bit more liquid. It's 10 cents, but you multiply it by 100. Okay, so it's going to be $10. They're in lots of 100. That's how it always works. Yeah. Okay. Rose, how are you from the great state of Virginia? Rose graduated from my MBA program. She was in my first class back in 2019. Great to see you. And Rose was the head of the yearbook in our first year as well. So Rose wrote, August 12th, I'll try to be there. I hope to see you. Bring your mom as well if you want. Yeah. Moving on to Shivanth, who wrote, I learned stuff, I read books, but I forget most of it. Is that a problem? No, not at all. What that might indicate is that what you're reading you're not passionate about. And that might be a blessing in disguise. Because once you find your passion, whatever you're most interested in life, you don't really have to focus. You suck up everything like a sponge. Now, when I was younger, they thought I had a learning disability in the high school I went to, and even before high school. They wanted to fail me in the 6th grade and the 8th grade. And so they thought it was because I had a learning disability. And so they sent me to, I remember it was Lakeshore Road in Oakville, Ontario, a place called Chisholm, to do tests to see if this is not working right. Probably isn't. But they realized that I wasn't passionate about what I was doing. And so what my dad did was he bought something for the house that changed my life. In 1987, he bought this, which I still have, right? I'm a Blue Jays fan. He bought this, which changed my life. And I was passionate about it to the extent that I would code, and I still code now. And I added programming to the MBA curriculum recently. But when I would code, hours would go by and I didn't even notice it. It was like a video game. I loved it. So maybe you haven't found your passion yet. And what I do in my MBA degree program is I think of myself humbly as your waiter. Okay, hopefully a waiter with half good food. Now, when you go to a restaurant, you look at everything on the menu, but you only pick 1 or 2 things to eat. So in my MBA degree program, I'm your waiter. I'm humbly here to serve you, your confidant. I provide you with a menu of different types of jobs you can get in business and different business processes, etc., including programming. I teach it to you. And whatever you're most passionate about, you can choose as a potential career. I also teach you how to start a company as part of the Venture Capital Bootcamp. But the most important thing when it comes to figuring out what you're passionate about is to network aggressively. So if you're not sure what you want to do in life, and I don't care how old people are, what you can do is you can set up networking meetings with people that are similar to you, leveraging LinkedIn. And what you can do is you can do informational meetings to see if you're passionate about whatever job it is they have. And for those of you in the class that started on Monday, January 30th, we're going to cover this in more detail when we finish off your LinkedIn profile and the networking part in PG 1-8 on February 21st. That's Personal Growth, Semester 1, Class number 8. Yeah. Your network is your net worth. Relationships are more important than product knowledge. Okay. Next up, Manas wrote, Jim Rickards and Robert Kiyosaki both predicted that a great recession or a depression is going to hit in 12 months and a bubble will burst. Jim's a former CIA advisor and Pentagon official. Yeah. Government employee. Yeah. So economists have successfully predicted 7 of the past 86 recessions, something like that. Yeah. I don't think we're going to depression at all. There's no way. Unemployment is still relatively low right now. Structurally, the economy is in good shape. We're just raising rates to offset inflation, and it's working. Yeah. I'm the optimist. Okay. Shavanth wrote, happy birthday, sir. Call me Chris, please. When you say sir, it makes me really feel old. Yeah. Okay. God bless you. I love you. Okay. Next up, Ferenc wrote, a happy birthday, Chris. Thank you. Rose wrote, happy birthday as well. Thank you. Appreciate it. Grace, who's a member of my channel, I see your blue icon there. Thanks for supporting my channel. Wrote, hello, Chris. It's great to be here again to learn from you. I trust you're doing well. I'm always great. Thank you. And then you wrote, happy birthday as well. Thank you. Okay. Next up, JM wrote, do you think the market will bottom soon? Or do you think there's going to be more pain? Yeah. Nobody can call the market. I have no idea. I'm a long-term investor. I don't try to make 10% per year in a stock. I try to invest in what are called 5x5s, meaning stocks that have potentially 500% return within 5 years. Am I wrong? Oh my God, a lot. But directionally, I'm usually right. If I do enough research on a company, I'll never tell you what stocks to buy. But in my MBA degree program, I provide you with all the tools, templates, arrows in your quiver, etc., to help you come up with the best investment decisions. Yeah. And the way you know you have an amazing investment decision or an amazing business plan is if you finish it. You finish the business plan or the investment write-up. And so I've written a ton of business plans and investment write-ups over the year. And I've given up on them after just a couple pages. I've given up on them because that screening system I have in place, the process, basically tells me these are not good investments. Failing to plan is plan to fail. Always write a business plan before you start a company. And always write investment reports before you invest in a stock. Yeah. And I provide you with all the templates for that in my MBA program. Okay. All right, next up, Don wrote, why did you mention not to invest in mutual funds? Yeah, mutual funds are an absolute scam. So mutual funds massively underperform their benchmarks like the S&P 500, and they massively underperform ETFs. And the fees are ridiculous as well. So with mutual funds, although it might look like the fee is only 2, 3, or 4% per year, it's actually a hell of a lot higher in a good year. And the reason is because mutual fund managers, they get paid based on alpha. Alpha meaning how much they outperform their benchmark by. And so if they're underperforming and there's, say, 3 or 4 months left in the year, and they're like, I want to get a bonus or I don't want to be fired, they'll chase performance. And if they chase performance, what's happening if they buy and sell a lot is it means higher taxes for you and for everybody that invests. And the reason is because most governments around the world, they want you to be a patient long-term investor. And so if you own a stock for more than a year and you sell it, you pay less usually in capital gains taxes. So just be careful. So why are mutual funds still relevant? Well, mutual funds have a massive lobbyist unions in DC, and they spend a fortune every year on advertising as well. Yeah, don't buy mutual funds, buy ETFs. Yeah. My go-to ETF is the VOO, ticker VOO. You can invest that way in the S&P 500 and pay next to nothing in fees every year. Yeah, and pay less tax as well. Yeah. Okay. And the VOO, by the way, it's the S&P 500. It's up an average of 10.5% every single year, right? So if you put 20 grand into the S&P 500 in your retirement accounts every year, you'd have over $1 million, right? It's passive, you're long-term focused as well. And you don't have to worry about market volatility, so you won't lose sleep over that. Yeah. Okay. All right, and thank you, Grace, for that too. All right, next up, Ya, who's from Colorado in my MBA degree program. Great to see you. Ya wrote, good day, everyone. Happy birthday, Chris. God bless you. God bless you 10 times more. Thank you. And every morning before I get out of bed, what gets me into a peak mental state is I thank God for 10 things in this order. Andrew, Matthew, Dylan, Christine, Mom, Dad, Jamie, Kate, Elizabeth, and my students, you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. All right, next up, OM wrote, I loved your reaction on seeing Peter Diamandis, Chris. Thanks for honoring my request. You're most welcome. Good looking guy, unlike me. Yeah. That is funny. I felt like I was looking in the mirror, except for the eyes, different color. Yeah. All right. Next up, I have got here. Give me a second, guys. Okay. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Zoom if you guys want to get onto Zoom, and I'll open up Zoom soon. But if you want to get onto Zoom, what you do is this. You go to harounmba.com/Zoom, all lowercase, okay? All lowercase, Zoom. See here? Zoom. And then you click on this link here to join. And so what I'll do is I'll open it up while we wait. Launch meeting. And let me just make sure the microphone is correct. Good. And I'll wait for you guys to join here. Okay, great. So let me go over here and I'll answer your questions. And I answer questions through Zoom, but also through YouTube. So if you don't want to join Zoom, you keep asking questions this way too. Okay. Give me 1 second here. Oh my God, Mo, how are you? Mo from Baltimore. Great. I miss you, man. I miss you. It's been a while. Mo works in a door business, family business in Baltimore. He's a great guy. He's a good basketball player, and he's a motivational speaker as well for kids at risk. So he's wonderful. It is great to see you, man. I miss you. I miss you. Yeah. So Mo wrote, hello, Chris, our amazing mentor. God bless you. Wishing you the happiest of birthdays. Keep up all your amazing work. Thank you, brother. Thank you. It means a lot coming for you and everybody. God bless you. I miss you. I hope to see you this summer as well. Maybe on Sunday or something. Or if you come in a day or two after that, we should spend a day or two together. Good to see you. Okay. All right. Next up, Alex P., who's from Utah. Wrote, Chris, first off, you're too young to be getting senior moments. Thank you. Chris, first off, you're too young to be getting, I already read that, sorry. Senior moments. Jokes aside, thank you. What are your thoughts on the shortage of supply of gas going on right now as prices have skyrocketed? Yeah, I'm not up to speed on that at all. I didn't realize there was a shortage on gas. Yeah. I do know that natty gas prices did come down a bit in Europe, given a warmer expected winter there, which helped their economy. Yeah, it's tough right in the United States. It's always tough. I know you're based in Utah, I'm in California, to analyze gas prices because it's all regional. Depends on where you live. Yeah. Okay. Susan wrote, good morning. Good morning to you too. I just signed up for your complete MBA on Udemy, my 7.5-hour course on Udemy. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think we sold over 450,000 units of that one so far. It's been fun. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. And then Christina, thank you. This is what I miss, Christina, is you helped me out. You are my Google. Christina wrote, ChatGPT stands for Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Okay, cool. And the T in ChatGPT Transformer, Google apparently was the company that created that. Yeah. But Google has not done anything innovative in years. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if activist investors get involved with Google soon. Yeah. I don't know anything, but I think it's coming. Yeah. Okay. All right. Michelle, how are you? Michelle wrote, bonne fête. Merci beaucoup. Je veux faire le grasse matinée. Thank you. Okay. Alex said, happy birthday. Thank you. God bless you. Okay. Michael Nunez, how are you? Dr. Michael from Arizona. Great to see you, and congratulations on finishing the MBA program earlier this month. It is so good to see you. Thank you. Thank you. So Dr. Michael wrote, hi and happy birthday to you. You are young because your birthday is on Groundhog Day. Awesome. Awesome. Michael, I told you I wouldn't use this joke again, but I have to. A charity that I proudly serve it's my birthday, I can do this. The charity I proudly serve on the board of is called Doctors Without Diplomas. Yeah. Okay. That's a joke in case the YouTube police are looking. Yeah. All right. Michelle wrote, yes, I asked ChatGPT a few questions and surprised at the incorrect responses, questioning the AI part of it. Still garbage in, garbage out. Yes, totally. Absolutely. You got to be careful with it. It is confidently wrong. You know, like there are some people in life that are so confident, and you think that confidence leads to perceived competence. Yeah, be careful with ChatGPT. Yeah. Okay. All right. CMA wrote, hi, Chris. How are you? Isa, good to see you. Next up, we got Peter, who wrote, hello and happy birthday, Mr. Chris. I wish you all the best. Thank you, Pierre. Appreciate it. All right, CMA wrote, what's your take on Hindenburg recent reports? Yeah, on the Adani Group causing a meltdown in the share value. Yeah, I saw the price went down a further 25% this morning as well. I have not read the report. I'm sure that there are short sellers behind it as well. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Peter. Okay, next up, Bakari wrote, hi, everyone, and happy birthday, Chris. Thank you. Best wishes. I started learning in your online financial analyst course on Udemy. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And I filmed the trailer for that course in Prague. Yeah. Okay, Alexander wrote, greetings from Germany, Chris. Guten Morgen. How are you? Thank you. God bless you. Susan wrote, happy birthday. Thank you. Isa wrote, happy birthday as well. And thank you for the great information and advice. You're most welcome. Thank you. Good to see you. Okay, Eric wrote, oh my God, happy birthday, Chris. Watching you was the best decision I made in 2022. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. I love it. I love what I do. Thanks. Next up, we have Electronics on site, who's Eduardo from Texas. His son is one of the best Taekwondo players in the world. He was in my gold program and then dropped out, asked for his money back within 30 days. I'm still going to answer all your questions. I love you. Yeah, good to see you. Eduardo wrote, a good day, Chris. Happy birthday. Thank you. What are your thoughts on Powell's speech yesterday? In my opinion, it was confusing. Yeah. Do they keep increasing interest rates? Is this worth investing in it at all? Yeah, I'm not sure about investing means per your question. Yeah, but basically they indicated that things may be getting a little bit less bad, right, by only raising rates by 0.25%. But the language the quality of language implied that inflation is still kind of a big issue, right? They have to do that because if they signal that, hey, things are getting a lot better and, we're not going to be raising rates much anymore, then the market would take off, the economy would take off, and we'd see massive inflation. Yeah. So it's all about market signaling. Yeah. And it's not just Powell that decides that. There are 7 board governors within the Fed across the country that work together in that. Yeah. Okay, and usually it takes about 6 months in order to see interest rate hikes filter through and impact the economy, and we're certainly feeling it right now. Yeah, some people think that the government might have raised rates too much by 75 basis points more than 6 months ago. Yeah. Okay. All right, and Zishan wrote, happy birthday. Thank you. Okay, V wrote, happy birthday, Chris. God bless you. Thank you. How long does the MBA approval usually take? I sent the request last Monday. I have not heard back from support yet. Will there be a graduation ceremony? Yeah. So I handle all the support. I did not see your question, and I check it several times per day. So if you want, you can email me personally at chris@harounventures.com, and whatever questions you have, I'll answer. There is no approval. You can sign up right away if you want to. Now, you can't sign up for gold or platinum. I'm sorry, because it is sold out. But to learn more, what you can do is just go to my website, harounmba.com. And then if you scroll down here, you can learn more about silver, gold, and platinum here. You can start silver anytime you want to. Start today. 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. And if you buy silver, you get a discount on future gold and platinum classes. Yeah. Okay. All right. And what I'll do is I will accept Susan here, admit, and Susan, I'll be with you shortly, okay? And if anybody else wants to join Zoom, just go to harounmba.com/Zoom. And thank you. Okay, give me a second. Okay. I've been using a straw with my coffee for the past 6 or 7 months. And my teeth are starting to get a bit whiter now. Yeah. That's what models do as well, that are really, really, really good looking. Yeah. And I am good looking when I'm wearing that COVID mask. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, the graduation ceremony is going to be August 12th and 13th this year here on the West Coast. Yeah. Manas wrote, you should make a video like 51 things I learned after 51 years of glorious life and further. Oh, thank you. I love my life. Okay. Next up, Christian wrote, Chris, how old do you think is too old to start a career change? Oh, I love questions like that. So, as I mentioned earlier, the average life expectancy globally has gone up 26 years since the 1950s. So if you're 76, you're really 50. And the average age of somebody starting a company in America is over 50. That's a career change. So I don't think you're ever too old or too young to start a company. You know, a lot of people aren't retiring in their 90s now. Everybody's with it. You know, I think there are people on this call that are going to live to be 150. So I would say it's never too late to start over. And that's what I'm here for as well, to humbly help you. Yeah. Okay. And Rose wrote the same thing I just mentioned there too. Thank you. Yeah. Great minds think alike, meaning Rose and Christian. Okay, Susan wrote, what's your advice for a disabled person receiving only SSD for income and with a very modest inheritance in mutual funds? With no additional income knowingly coming in the future other than Social Security. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. So I think you could start a side hustle. And I see that you're trying to get into Zoom here. And so what I'll do is during Zoom, what we'll do is we'll brainstorm together on creating a side hustle. And everybody can teach online. Everybody has something to teach. Even that guy Ninja, who my kids love, he's a big Fortnite player. He started teaching Twitch, how to use Twitch, before he blew up on Twitch. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Manas wrote, why do people have negative feelings about Justin Trudeau? Yeah. Like in general, that the man looks really sharp and handsome, and why half of Canadians speak French and the other. Okay, couple questions there. Yeah. So Justin is not the best at dancing in India. I don't know if you saw what happened. You can always do a search on what happened a couple of years ago when he visited India. I think it was cool that he tried to appeal to people all over the world, though. So Justin Trudeau, a lot of people think that maybe he got to where he is. You know, it's like Bush Jr. syndrome because of his father. You know, his father was prime minister when I was a kid for way too long. He's a liberal. Right, so he leans more left than right. Be careful what I say here. And I've got actually a pretty funny Justin Trudeau story for you. I went to school with him. So I was at McGill University 8 million years ago. I graduated in 94. And it was in, I think, 1993 in the summer. I was on campus. And there was this girl. And she was so gorgeous. Like nobody talked to her. Not as pretty as my wife. She was so gorgeous. Nobody ever talked to her. Like she's just out of everyone's league. And there was a charity event on campus by the McClellan Library. And I saw her there. And I was like, you know what, man? Screw it. Let's do it, as Sir Richard Branson says. I'm going to go up and talk to her. And so I went up, and I wasn't even drinking, although I wanted a beer. I went up to talk to her, and she was talking back to me. And I was like, oh my God, is this happening? I got to pinch myself. Is this real? And so I talked to her for 5 minutes, and she started laughing at my jokes and everything, right? And then 30 minutes go by, and I'm still talking to her, and I'm like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. Chris, you have to ask for her number. You have to ask. You have to close the sale. You got to ask for the number right now. And I was going to ask for her number, And all of a sudden, this guy walks up, and he's got long hair. He looks like Jim Morrison. He walks up, and he starts talking to her. And the second he starts talking to her, she does this to me. And she's laughing at his jokes, which are even worse than mine. And I'm like, what the hell, man? I just got Heisman by somebody. What's happening here? And so I didn't know what to do. And so I looked at him and I go, hi, I'm Chris Haroun. Like I'm anybody. I'm nobody, And he looks at me and goes, Justin Trudeau. Yeah. He was nice about it. But come on, man. I got Heisman by a Kennedy. I can't compete with that. Yeah. So Trudeau, Trudeau is more liberal, meaning he's more left-wing, even more liberal than Democrats. And so if you're progressive conservative in Canada, meaning a little bit more right-wing, you might not like him as much. Yeah. Okay, next up, Melanie wrote, hi, Chris. I'm a Canadian living in California, too. Awesome. Great to have you here. Have you ever made a video listing all of your sources of income? No, I've not. Okay, but there aren't very many. Yeah. Okay, next up, Yosuke Hajime Mashite wrote, I just finished your financial modeling course and studying further. Can you explain pros and cons of unlevering and why this method cannot be used for banks? Yeah, you're going to have to give me a specific example. The concept of levering means using a lot of debt in order to make an acquisition. A lot of private equity firms use leverage. Yeah. And derivatives, there's a lot of leverage used as well. The global derivatives market is 6 times bigger than the global stock market. It's massive from a levering perspective, right? In terms of swaps, futures, forwards, options. Yeah. But just give me a specific example and I can help you out. Yeah. Okay. Great. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over now to Zoom, and let's start Zoom now. And keep typing your questions here if you want to as well. Let me tee this up here, and I'm going to come over here to Zoomy, and I will start myself here. And I want to talk to Susan about. And so you always have to unmute yourself. Sorry, because it automatically mutes everybody at first. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Excellent. And Susan, was that you that asked that question? That was you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Great. Well, let's brainstorm together. Tell me a little bit about yourself. I guess you're based in St. Louis. I see there. Okay, cool. Are you a baseball fan? Albert Pujols? Yeah. He's such a stud. Isn't he great? He's a stud, man. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he's amazing. He went out and I really wish that the Cardinals won the World Series. They made it to the playoffs. He was a stud. He was great. Yeah. Oh, I love that guy. Yeah, he's one of my heroes. Yeah. Second most RBIs in history, I think, after Hank Aaron. He's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And you had Stan Musial as well. Yeah, you guys had a lot of great players over the years. Stan the Man.
For a while.
Yeah. Excellent. Great. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you.
You too. Thank you so much. I'm actually kind of starstruck right now because I just started your course on Udemy. I'm not sure how to say it, but
that's right. No, you're right. You pronounced it right. Yeah. No, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah. Excellent. It's a pleasure to meet you. Excellent.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you. I've been disabled since 2008.
Yeah.
Physically, but my brain will not stop. I am creative. I'm very creative.
Yeah.
I'm big into the arts and crafts and things like that. So in your classes, you say, find your passion, whatever you're about, you won't want in your life, the quote from whoever, I can't even think right now.
Yeah. Well, there's a quote. I usually do a quote from Mark Twain. The two most important days in your life are number 1, the day you're born, and number 2, the day you find out why. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I want to help you, and why don't you join my Gold MBA for free? So just send me a message to support at Haroun Ventures, support at harounventures.com, and I'll sign you up, and we'll work together extensively. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Yeah.
Wow.
Of course. I'm happy to help. Yeah.
Okay, where am I supposed to send it? Support at
Haroun Ventures. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
H-A-R.
Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. We have Brian here as well. And Brian has $25 million worth, no joke, of comic books on the wall behind him. Yeah. Including including Spider-Man #1. Yeah.
Yes.
Can you show me that again? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I can turn the computer on.
Awesome. You guys got to check this out. This is ridiculous. I love this. Okay. So it's bottom right-hand corner, the Amazing Spider-Man. Right by the guitar. See, follow the guitar up. It's the one closest to the strings part. Yeah,
They're all signed.
And it's signed by Stan Lee.
Yes.
And that's a 9.
Everything I have is signed. I don't put stuff not signed up.
It's amazing, and it's 9.2 out of 10, which is unheard of. He's got Secret Wars up there as well. The Black Spider-Man. I have that one. You got the Dark Knight top left there. Frank Miller stuff, Batman. And of course, Wolverine. Oh my God, you have the art as well. That's unbelievable. Man, I'm in heaven. That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, I sent you an email with when I met Stan Lee.
Oh, cool.
And Neil Adams. Did you see that?
Oh, I'll check it. I'm so sorry. I have 1.5 million students. Sometimes I don't see all the emails, but I will go and search for it after this.
Yes,
I'm going to turn my watch around. And I do this because later on I'll look at my watch. I'm like, why is my watch turn? Oh yeah, I got to remember something to email to get back to Brian. The problem is if I have to remember 2 things, I'm screwed. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
So in December when I bought all your classes on Udemy,
thank you.
I was going to join the MBA thing because I've been reading about it.
Yeah.
Then I realized I have all these classes that I already bought from you that I haven't started yet.
Yeah.
So I decided maybe I should finish all these because I'm doing your classes. Finish all these, then do the MBA.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
If you want, it's all brand new content, brand new concepts, taught from 4 or 5 different professional camera angles as well. Yeah, and I teach it different ways as well. Like when I teach accounting and finance in my MBA degree program, I use a lot of props. I teach it in a different way instead of just PowerPoint. Yeah.
Love how you teach.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
So would it be better just to skip the Udemy classes that I bought and just do the MBA? I can't do your gold one because I teach and I run businesses, so I just can't commit to those classes.
Yeah, I mean, I would. It all depends. If you just want to learn small bits of information on different topics, I'd stick with the Udemy stuff. If you want something more comprehensive, 300 to 500 hours, 300 hours of course stuff plus another 200 hours or so of electives or whatever it is. Then do the MBA, or just wait.
Okay.
Whatever you want. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know if this like the Zoom stuff is strictly for MBA students or anything, so I didn't want to be jumping into something that I shouldn't be.
No, you can come on whenever you want. You can come on. So what I do is I have MBA silver office hours, meaning the Zoom call every Thursday at 10 a.m. for an hour. And then I do 2 hours of Zoom stuff with my gold and platinum students from 11:20 to 1:20, and then one-on-ones as well. Yeah, but this is a public webcast. Whatever you want. It's I always want to see you because I want to talk comic books and stuff. Yeah. Oh, and I mentioned earlier God of War Part 2, and I remember a couple weeks ago, first time I talked to you over Zoom, we talked about God of War.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wrote back about that. So
Oh, cool.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's such a cool game. I love Kratos. That's definitely one of my favorite games.
He's and he's not as much of a dick to his kid in this one than he was in the last one. You notice that? Yeah.
Yes.
He used to only call his son boy in the previous versions, but now he's a little bit nicer.
Yeah. He's finally accepted he has a son.
Yeah. He's less of a jerk. Yeah. He's all man. He's a big guy. Yeah.
Progress.
Yeah. Exactly. He's getting nicer. Yeah. In the next version, he'll probably tear up and have some midlife crisis or something. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask about not the options one I'm taking out, the 30-day one that I've almost completed it.
Yeah.
There was a few that I have. Do something nice for strangers every day.
Yeah.
I think it was last week. Because I'm in an office and I'm trying to figure out when do I meet strangers. I don't go outside, or I just know so many people and being a figurehead in the community.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time doing that.
Yeah.
So what would you recommend?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm not completing what you're stating if I'm not doing that part of it.
I appreciate that. And I remember it was a week or two ago you mentioned the I understand thing worked out. So a couple things you can do. You can decide one day, instead of spending money on yourself on an app or whatever it is, you can go outdoors for a walk, and when you see a homeless person, you can give that money to that person. Or it might be something as simplistic as opening the door for somebody else, or even virtually, just go onto Amazon and respond to Q&A people have in certain products you purchased. Yeah.
Can I make a...
Please do, Susan. Yeah.
Do you ever order food or coffees or anything from any restaurants?
No, you would think I would, but I live in my office. I never leave, so I have a full kitchen and everything. I'm kind of spoiled here.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you could also you can sponsor scholarships for different classes or activities for kids or people that can't afford it. I know that I've benefited from that myself, and I've been so grateful. So just, you can even do it anonymously. Nobody else has to know that you did it. They could just award a scholarship to somebody who applies and can't afford to pay for whatever it is on their own.
I love it. I love that idea. It's genius.
Yeah.
You can even go to various websites to donate, like, Doctors Without Diplomas.org or something. I'm just kidding. Mm-hmm. That was I got that Doctors Without Diplomas joke from Zach Galifianakis. That's not mine. Yeah.
It's cute.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that is a money idea. I love it. Yeah. Excellent.
So are you supposed to am I supposed to do that? I can't do that every day. It seemed like the 30-day plan is something you're supposed to try to do every day.
Yeah, and there's
or am I taking it too little?
No, you're doing the right way. Thank you. It's pretty relaxed. I haven't advertised this, but there's an app for it as well. We have an app on Android and iOS. We've been beta testing it for 6 months. It's free, but we're going to deploy it. So there's an app version of it as well, where you can document that stuff if you want to. Yeah.
What is the app called?
Oh, it's so just do a search for just Haroun Education.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'll find it there. Yeah. And let me know if there's any issues with it. I think we're almost ready to release it. They've been working on it for a while now. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Where do we get it from so I can try it out?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be similar content to what you have, but just do a search on iOS or Android for Haroun.
Oh, it is up there.
Yeah, Haroun Education. Yeah.
Okay.
And give it a 1-star review, please. Yeah.
There's no such thing as a bad review.
Dude, I
learned that as a tour musician.
I have hundreds of thousands of reviews written about me, and some of them are so funny. Like what I'll do sometimes, like I don't really read them, but I will sometimes when I want to laugh at something, do a search for 1-star reviews and just read all the criticisms and do their hysterical, because when you get criticized, unjustified criticism is a disguised compliment. And so it's like Jimmy Kimmel mean tweets. People say the worst things and random stuff too. I had one dude who wrote, "I'm watching your course in my underwear." That's what he wrote, and he gave me 1 star. It was ridiculous. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess he didn't like his underwear of choice that day.
I have no idea. Yeah. His name was Calvin or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I do find I try to read the 1-star things before I buy stuff.
Yeah.
Because most of it is ridiculous, but there can be some true merits.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. You got it. There you go.
Excellent.
Excellent. Cool. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm desperate to get on with my life, basically, because being down physically since 2008 due to a tumor that wreaked havoc on my system. I was in my then dream job.
Yeah.
And I'd been there for 3 years and was broken. I had to leave. And basically what I've been doing ever since is crocheting and making things out of clay. I was a chocolate maker as well before, and kind of tried. But I need to. My parents died, and I received a small inheritance, which has gone down in value so much. But it's invested. I don't know how to invest. I don't know anything about any of that. I just know that that's where it was put into for me.
Right.
I don't have a clue what to do with it, but my disability, my Social Security disability, does not go far.
Right.
And I am scared to death about my future, and I'm 53.
Yeah.
I've got a long way to go.
Yeah.
So I'm walking again. I'm physically, moving again. I still have lots of ailments, but my mind goes all the time about what can I do? What can I do? What can I do?
Yeah.
And
couple things, Susan. So, do you have an accountant that does your taxes? Or
no.
Okay. Get an accountant. Get an accountant, because there are certain tax write-offs that you will get that you might not be taking advantage of. Yeah. Never doing your own taxes is like doing surgery on yourself, right? Because the tax code changes a lot. And they will help you, and I guarantee you they will get you money back. Yeah. Now, in terms of, you mentioned in 2008, you were in a job for 3 years you were passionate about. What sector was that? What kind of job was that?
I was in dentistry. I was the head assistant to a new orthodontist. So I was lead chairside assistant, project manager, lab tech.
Right.
I did all that because I had 18 years basically experience before that.
Yeah.
And I met her kind of weirdly, but she offered me a job that didn't even exist yet.
Yeah.
Because we hit it off, and so she made room for me, and I loved her. I loved the position. I loved the job. I loved everything about it until I got sick.
Have you talked to her recently?
Yeah, we're friends on Facebook still. She's very busy, so basically when I talked to her, even when I was working, was at work.
Yeah.
So every now and we say hi.
Yeah.
So
can you ask her if you can work remotely in some fashion?
Well, there's no way to do it because it was all basically a physical thing.
Okay, I understand. Okay. You mentioned that you're passionate about crochet and all that.
Crochet.
I used to make, I remember my mom used to, together when we were kids, I used to do Santa Claus crochet with the red and the white. What about, have you looked at Etsy to see if there's any sort of arts and crafts oriented stuff that you can custom make and sell?
Oh, sure, I can. I just don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't have a head for business, which is why I'm starting to take your class.
Yeah. No. And we'll write a business plan together. Let's go together. Let's go to Etsy and let's just brainstorm together.
Okay. Wow.
Etsy.com. Okay.
Hey, Chris, can I ask something?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to help her?
Of course, yeah. And Brian is a financial advisor. He's got billionaires as clients and all that stuff.
No way. Oh, my gosh.
I do all the investments for people, so if you're having a problem, just reach out to me.
Oh, wow.
And I'll go through what you have, and I'll let you know what you need to do.
Awesome. Awesome. You know what I'll do?
So I didn't know if I could say that during your program.
No, absolutely. You know what I'll do, Brian, if you want, if it's okay. So Susan's going to send me an email today, and you already sent me an email, Brian. So is it okay if I introduce you to Susan over email?
Yes.
Okay. Now I've got two things to remember. I got to wear 2 watches. Okay. Cool. Absolutely. I'll do that. Now, if right here we could see Susan, I'm on Etsy.com, and it looks like people are selling crochet products here. I would just look through this just for general ideas, right? And these price points are low because they're probably selling, downloadable paper-based templates, right? But you can look at other products as well, instead of just patterns, but actually real physical crochet stuff or whatever it is. Yeah. And that might help you come up with some general ideas. And everybody has something to teach as well. Now, I guarantee you, I don't know this for a fact, that there's somebody on YouTube making 6 figures per year just talking about crochet.
What?
I guarantee it's out there.
Yes.
I mean, there are so many people on YouTube that have millions of followers that no one's ever heard of. Yeah. But what we can do is we can, and it costs you. So YouTube is the biggest gold rush in history because it's the only gold rush where it costs you nothing to make the product. And it's the only gold rush you can get access to billions of potential customers right away, theoretically. So what we'll do is, in the program, we'll talk together a lot about a business plan for you in terms of doing something you're passionate about from home. Maybe it's crochet, and maybe you create TikToks, which is where I get all.
I can teach people how to make chocolates.
Oh, dude, that is even better. Oh, I love it. Because the total addressable market of chocolate lovers is bigger. Yeah.
There's a whole nativity of.
Oh, I love you so much. There's a reason why we're doing this call. Go.
I would go with the chocolates.
Go back.
The chocolates.
Yeah, that is genius. I love it. Okay. There are people on YouTube that probably make millions of dollars doing that in chocolates. Probably a bigger total addressable market. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have you. There's a woman on Udemy, and I interviewed her years ago in my Inc. magazine column, and I was tearing up when I interviewed her. Her name is Teresa Greenway, and she lived off of food stamps for years. She was in an abusive marriage. Her prick husband abused her. And she had the strength one day to stand up and leave that jerk. And she took her 2 youngest kids, and she's living off food stamps. And she's like, what can I do from home that I'm passionate about? What do I like? And so she loves baking bread. And so she makes hundreds of thousands of dollars selling online on places like Udemy and other places too, on how to bake bread. How prophetic is that? Goes hand in hand with the nativity scene. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. Okay. I love it. Okay. Stick with me, and together we'll work for a couple of years, and I guarantee you will be making 6 figures from chocolate online somehow. I know I'm putting it out there now. I'm accountable, which is what I love. And I set a deadline date 3 years from now. So what are we? 2024. Okay, on my birthday, by 2026, you will have made 6 figures somehow from chocolate online. I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe it's TikToks, which is where I get all my stock advice from. Maybe it's TikTok. You can do it that way. I don't know, but we're going to make it happen together. How's that sound?
That sounds. I don't even know. I don't have English is deficient right now. I don't have a word to describe.
No, please. We're gonna make this happen. Yeah, and Brian's going to help you out with financial advice as well, and he's great. Yeah. We will.
Is this a dream, or I'm pinching myself?
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I promise you. Yeah.
I would, Suzanne, doesn't where you live have farmers markets where you could take your chocolates and see what sells the best? Because you could take that information from there, and then that's what you would make the videos based on, because that's what people would want.
I have past information from before I got sick, and was it after as well? I can't remember. But my late sister-in-law, unfortunately, she died almost 2 years ago. We actually had started Finley Sister Sweets. She was married to my brother, and then but then she got sick and her kidneys failed and she passed away. She's only a year older than me, and she had the head for business. In fact, she went on to own a cake and chocolate supply store in St. Louis. And then her mom had to take it over when she got really sick and passed away. So her mom owns it now. But she had the head for business. She knew how to do the business plan, the signing it up, to start the company and everything like that. And I did the creative stuff. So, but I did take a lot of my chocolates, and she took her cupcakes and stuff like that to Irish festivals, because I was in an Irish group. It's disbanded now. It was going for years and years and years, and we had Irish festivals, and I made a lot of Irish. That's a hockey puck sized chocolate.
Oh, dude, I love it! Oh my god,
that's cool.
That is incredible. Where's my hockey sticks up here on the ceiling? But I love it.
I love hockey.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. So
being in St. Louis, you have Kirkwood. And you have all those areas right there where they have lots of farmers market. Yeah. And since you can make that stuff, I would contact them, Anheuser-Busch, because that's where they make horses, and see if you can sell the horse chocolates at Anheuser-Busch.
Oh, wow.
Because they always keep the horses out there.
I just have to send off, it takes like $300 to make a custom form that I would, pour the chocolate into, and then I hand paint these. I hand paint all of my chocolates. Oh, but this one's not painted. This is a champagne flavored white chocolate with key lime crunch bits in it, and it was amazing. This is a Celtic cross, and it's sold out so many times in the Irish festivals that I took it to.
Dude, the Lord works in mysterious ways. This is all a sign. I love it. We're gonna sell those, okay? We're gonna sell a ton of those. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, I love. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll make a bunch, and then what I'll do is I'll buy it and I'll interview you 1 week on your business plan on this. Yeah, we'll talk about your go-to-market strategy and all that stuff as well, if you want. That is so cool, man. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Could you send me a box before Valentine's Day? And do my wife's from St. Louis. Her family, she went to MICDS, and she's
really,
and her best friend lived. Could you make St. Louis chocolates and send them to me, and I'll pay you whatever you need?
That's awesome.
I'll pay for overnight shipping if it's $50-$60.
It's awesome.
Okay.
And that's your 30-day thing. That's today's the helping somebody thing, right? Yeah. I love it.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think of that.
There you go.
I was actually thinking of myself because I hadn't bought anything for Valentine's.
Very cool.
All right.
Okay.
So if you can do that, that would be great. Like 10 chocolates, whatever. But make it like the St. Louis Arch. But she doesn't drink beer, but that's a part of St. Louis. Just things that are St. Louis.
Yeah, I do have a beer stein mold that I can do. So, yeah.
Yeah. And if you could do the letters in my CDS, that'd be great. She still talks about that school to the day.
Very cool.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah, I can even do tools. That's awesome.
Dude, those look so good, man. It looks.
They look awesome, but that would get lost on her.
Yeah.
It looks so fun.
Make a big one like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yep.
I want to introduce you guys to Jean-Marco. He's awesome. He's from. Oh my God, dude, that's just like my Coke on a rope thing here. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Very cool.
So just send me what it would cost, and I'll send you the funds, PayPal, whatever you want. And I can give it to you today if you give me the bill today.
Wow. Okay, I will. I work on that. Thank you so much.
I love it. Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. I want to introduce you guys also to Jean-Marco from the Dominican Republic. He's got a logistics company that's going to put Federal Express out of business one day. Called Domway, Dominican Republic Way. Yeah, and he's kicking ass. He's opened a couple of new offices. He's a good dude. How are you, man?
Good. What about you guys?
Good. How's the weather down there, Dominican?
It's good.
Good,
it's sunny, but it's not hot as always. But
yeah.
It's the best time of the year here.
Nice.
Because then it's too hot.
Yeah.
It's too hot.
Yeah. Well, I
don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like the hot weather. I prefer the cold weather.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
I'm always with air conditioners, fans, and stuff. I don't like it hot.
Yeah. Well, it's deadly what's going to happen tomorrow. So tomorrow in Canada and parts of New Hampshire, it's going to be literally minus 45 degrees. Yeah.
I don't think that cold.
It's correct. Like I advise people to stay home. It's going to be deadly.
Wow.
Deadly. Even in Texas, I don't know if you guys saw last night, but in Dallas, there's ice and snow everywhere. There are tons of car accidents. People are dying. It's awful. It's awful. Yeah. Deadly.
That sucks.
Yeah. And Brian, you're in DC. It must be freezing there, eh?
It's cold, and it'll get to 12 degrees. Not as cold as what you're talking about, Canada.
Yeah.
So you're making that sound like we're Southern California right now.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be bad. When I was a kid, dude, whenever it snowed a lot, we wouldn't go in the backyard because we loved it when it rained after it snowed. Because what happens, it creates a perfect ice rink in the backyard. If you go in the backyard, you'll screw up the ice rink. But that's what we love, man. That's what we loved. And for Canadians, like Americans don't realize how big of a cultural phenomenon hockey is in Canada. In America, you have wonderful sports. You have baseball, basketball, football, NASCAR, all that stuff. In Canada, put all that together, that's hockey. And I've got to quote the great one, Wayne Gretzky, and I have one of my students from Brantford, Ontario, where Wayne Gretzky was born, Matthew on the call. Wayne Gretzky was successful, not because he skated to where the puck is, but rather because he skated to where the puck is going to be. And by the same token, what we're going to do is we are going to take Susan's business and make it massive because she is going to be a rock star in this market, and it's not going to cost us much to do it at all because you're going to get free PR over your social media channels, etc. Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course, we're going to make it happen. And Brian's going to help you too with investment advice and all that stuff. Make sure to call your accountant as well. That's important. Yeah.
I'm one.
Yes, I am not an accountant.
Yeah.
So you need an accountant.
Yeah.
I don't even do my own accounting.
No. But if you want to think about how to ship your products affordably to customers, Jean-Marco will help you as well because he owns a shipping business. He'll be able to give advice. We have all the synergies in place here. Yeah.
Networking.
Yeah. That's right, man. That's right. And you'll be in the venture capital boot camp, but your network is your net worth. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, I don't have any more props on the floor for today. That's it.
I wonder how much a book signed by Tony Twist would bring.
Yeah.
You know who it is?
Who's that, Tony? Who's that?
Tony Twist. He was a hockey player in St. Louis.
No
some
kidding.
Years.
Okay,
Yeah.
the St. Louis Blues. Yeah.
Keenan, who a lot of St. Louis people did not like, who was coach for a while, and he got rid of like Brendan Shanahan and a lot of players. He used to. The Blues used to have open practice at the local rink, about 10 minutes away from our house, and I took my kids. It was my son's 12th birthday, I think.
Okay, I have one more. I have one more prop. Sorry, I had to pull this up here. Yeah, all right.
I wish I could have Cujo's mask.
That's Cujo. I remember that, the goalie. He was amazing. Yeah.
Love him.
Yeah.
But I kids to watch the practice on my son's 12th birthday.
Yeah.
And when we got there was a whole bunch of people waiting. Coach Keenan came and taped paper up over the glass in the windows of the door and closed practice. He did that frequently. It was a gamble every time he went. So I knew the Zamboni guy, so we went around to the back and we snuck in. And Tony Twist was one of the major players, and he was one of the enforcers. Yeah. And so he came back and he goes, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" I'm like, "Watching practice. It's my son's birthday." You know, he goes, "Hey, you come here to my son." Yeah. He he was on the ice, but my son, he walked him around to where the bench was. Keenan was fuming. His face was beet red and he was so angry. Yeah. And Tony Twist gave him the stick he was practicing with. Yeah. And made sure all the players signed his shirt, his blue shirt he was wearing.
That's amazing. I love it. I love it.
And we just watching the practice too. So that
I love it. I love it. And do you have a cat as well? I saw a tail.
I have a massive.
Yeah, let me see. I love cats.
Almost 19-pound.
Oh, cat. Hi there. What's the name?
Drew. My mom named her after Drew Barrymore.
Oh, Barrymore. Okay, cool. Right on. Yeah.
I also have a 23-year-old cat, Suki, here.
Oh, hello, Suki.
Yeah. He's getting old.
Very, very cute. Very cute. We have 1.5 cats. Well, we have a cat, Ruby, and then there's this stray cat that comes in our garage every night to eat. Adorable. Yeah.
A few of those I do.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. So Jean-Marc, how's your business going, man?
Good. I'm talking to a new customer today.
Uh-huh.
He wants how do you say this? Customs, service of customs, where he imports stuff that's in here.
Cool.
So he needs a service of customs. So the thing is that where he's based, we got to do a new logistics route. So that's the thing. I have a meeting on Saturday with my partner, and we can offer that.
Okay.
And see how we can help that guy.
How did you get that customer?
Check this out, Chris. So the first logistics company I started that failed. Yeah. I created it. I had 3 guys that was working with me on the social media platforms and stuff.
Right.
So we created an Instagram, and I forgot about it. Like, I asked them, and they told me, "No, we lost that." I was like, "Okay, well then not." Then today, one of those guys write me like, "Hey, there's a customer of yours. Like, he wants a service." It was called SM Logistics, my first company. It went, it failed. I did not manage it right, but when today I was talking, look, I could tell you the same thing he told me, like, "Hey, I got a person that writes to the company." He said, "Good morning, SM Logistics." And my friend like, "Yeah, we are at that company." He says, "Okay, I'm looking for a custom agent. Can you offer that for me?" And like that started. And so we're working on that right now.
Very cool, man. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Excellent. And you're analyzing FedEx as well, right?
that's what I wanted to ask you something about.
Yeah.
So, Chris, about the thing about competitors on the Excel spreadsheet you gave us.
Yeah.
How do you? There's something I wanted to ask. Wait. So how can I find the biggest competitors? Like, what industry report can I read that's good, or what? Or can I find that?
Yeah. So depending on the industry, big consulting firms like McKinsey quite often publish reports. So I would do a search for logistics consulting reports, or I would do a search for total addressable market for the shipping market. And then you'll find a handful of companies. And then what you can do is you can go to investor relations for that company. So similar as we talked about last night on Zoom, you can go to do a search for investor relations FedEx, and you can read about FedEx and all the risks and business drivers and see their financial statements, etc. You can also go into the annual report and do a search on the word risks and competition. And by law, they have to list the biggest competitors. Any material risk has to be listed.
So they list that on their report.
Yeah, like if you go into Federal Express, their annual reports, you'll probably find UPS as well as USPS and DHL, which stands for Don't Hurry Lad. Yeah, sorry. I had to use that joke. It was off. That was terrible dad humor. Yeah.
That's one of your common jokes.
Dude, I do it over and over and over again. Kind of like when I teach you guys.
Like the one with a space?
Well, yeah.
That's a good one.
It's space. She wants some space. Like in the programming stuff I teach you guys, I said this too many times. I'm a very small man. So when you meet me on August 12th and you come here, you can see I'm tiny.
Yeah, I'm like 6'2". I don't know how.
Oh, you are? Yeah. No. Yeah.
And there was another, let me see, what was my other question? So Chris, I'm having a debate. So I have a position that I think it's going to grow, but if I buy more, it's going to surpass like the 5% of my portfolio.
Yeah, don't do it.
You think it's advisable or don't do it? I don't do it?
Don't do it, no. I always recommend having at least 20 positions in your portfolio. So if you have $100 to invest, never put more than $5 in any one stock or investment. Yeah.
Okay. And if I have one position that's like more than 5%, should I start looking for a sell?
Yeah. If it appreciates, I try to time it best, meaning hopefully you've held a position for more than 1 year so that you pay less in taxes. If capital gains tax is an issue, talk to your accountant there in the Dominican Republic. If it's in your retirement account, then tax is kind of a moot point. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. But I'd also look at sector diversification as well. You don't want to have all of your investments in any one sector. Like don't have more than 20% of your investments in technology stocks. You want to diversify.
Yeah, that's my problem. My 100% in investment is right now in technology.
Yeah.
Oh, my businesses are logistics and stuff, but my investments are all in technology.
In tech stocks, yeah.
So I need to change that up because it's 100%.
Yeah,
there's nothing else.
Yeah, and you're younger as well, which means that you've got the rest of your life to make it back. And this is kind of I'm sure Brian has more intelligent things to say than I do about this, but historically, this is old school. People would say you take 100 minus your age, and that's what percent of your stocks should be in growth or riskier investments. So if you're 25, 100 minus 25 is 75. So 75% can be in riskier asset classes. If you're 90, 100 minus 90 is 10. Only 10% can be in riskier stuff because you don't have as much time to make it up. Now that's old school because there are people in this call that will live to 150. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Brian, what do you think about risk management? How do you approach that?
That's a tricky question because it depends on each person individually.
Yeah.
Risk is different for everyone.
Right.
I would recommend Susan completely different than him just because of their age and their circumstances in life.
Sure.
So for him, he's young. I probably wouldn't have a problem with it being all in tech because that's what's really surviving right now. Even though it had a downfall last year, that makes it better for him because he can dollar cost average in the long term. I don't think Microsoft, Apple, Google, all these companies are going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
At his age, at this point in life, even if it does crash again, he can ride it out.
Right. Okay, cool.
So, you want to be diversified too, but you also want to think about, I always tell my clients, I make them sign an email letter to me. What happens if this goes to zero? If this affects your life, then we can adjust it from there. If it doesn't affect your life that much, then that's how we'll make our decisions.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point.
Thanks, Brian.
but you're really young, so you can go balls to the wall with risk. It's a learning experience. You want to learn now when you have less money than when you have a lot of money.
Okay.
So make the mistakes now. Don't make it in the future.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
Thanks.
fair. That's fair.
I hope that helps. I don't want to step.
Yeah, it does.
Chris's
It
toes.
does.
No,
It gives me like, an open mind for that.
Yeah.
Because I am
It always-
in that position. I'm really like in it's only tech.
Yeah. And it's hard not to be, considering that's really what's moving the world today. I mean, everything people buy is, Facebook costs no money and people are piling into it. And what happened, Facebook is up 25% this morning because of earnings. So there's a thought process that goes in that. AI with ChatGPT, which Chris keeps bringing up, that's going to take Microsoft to a whole nother level. So I have no problem having large positions in companies like that, because I think it's really hard for anyone to come and knock them down. They're so far ahead of the game. You just can't start a company and compete against them. And if you did, they would just buy you up and copy you anyway. So again, that's because you're young.
Yes.
If Microsoft goes down 50%, you're not crying and you're not losing your house. I would just say, okay.
I know your point. It's a really good point. I didn't thought about that. But yeah.
Cool.
But I also tell people, only invest in things you're actually using.
Yeah.
So if you buy everything Apple, then you need to invest in Apple. If you buy everything Android, invest in Google. Invest in what you know. Don't buy stuff you don't understand. This was the problem with GameStop. Half these kids thought they were buying some company they didn't even know was a video game company. They just jumped in blindly, and you see what happens.
So many.
I normally do that.
So I did a lot of research on GameStop. It's part of the book. I'm going to be releasing just one of the case studies. And apparently Michael Jordan lost hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in that short squeeze. Yeah. People lost $6 billion. Melvin Capital went belly up. The stock went up 29.4 times in the month of January 2021 alone. And that's an increase of 190 times from the previous April of 2020 low. It was the biggest short squeeze anybody's ever seen. It's a fascinating story.
Yeah. I got hit on it.
Yeah.
Too. So, because there was no way to justify that company. Nobody goes to the stores anymore.
Yeah.
Everything's down low. Yeah. So I started shorting it.
Yeah.
And I got hit. I never sold out. I still have my shorts. So thank God.
Yeah.
I just kept adding more, but I could afford to do that.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. I mean, that company is just, there's nothing there anymore. There's no reason to actually go there. They don't offer anything you can't get at home sitting there.
No. I remember back in 2005, I was at the annual E3 video game convention, and I had a one-on-one meeting with Bobby Kotick, the founder of Activision. And my boss at the hedge fund I worked at was in the room. And I was long GameStop at that point in time because, they had merged with Electronic Boutiques, Elbow at the time, and, valuation was cheap. And Bobby Kotick said in that meeting, we are going to create downloadable games so that people don't buy used games anymore from GameStop. And after that meeting, my boss at this big hedge fund got upset with me. And rightly so. I understand his thesis, although I disagree with him, that in the long run, this company is not going to exist. But the problem is, it's such a compelling short that it got crowded very fast. During the pandemic, nobody goes to stores, so bad for GameStop. In the long run, downloadable games, bad for GameStop. But it gets crowded. And so the metric that we always look at in the hedge fund industry is a short interest ratio. And any stock that's got a short interest ratio above 10 is deadly because it's crowded. And for those of you not familiar with short interest ratio, it means you take the number of shares short in the stock, which is publicly disclosed, divided by the average daily volume. And if the short interest ratio is 10 or higher, that means it'll take 10 days worth of volume in order to cover all the shorts. Now, it got crazy with other meme stocks too, like AMCC. The Reddit crowd went after them. And stock market manipulation is against the law. There's big, whenever there's a financial crisis, Congress looks into it and makes new rules. But what happened was 140% of the shares outstanding were short. Deadly. Yeah.
Oh, well, they were creating shares to short that didn't even exist.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that's just what caused all that. So that's where derivatives get you in trouble, because if you don't understand that.
Totally. But what people don't realize also is that activist investors were involved. There's this guy named Ryan Cohen, who's a great activist investor from Montreal. and he bought a 9% stake in the company in late 2020, and he joined the board in early 2021, which led to the short squeeze early on. It's a fascinating story. Yeah. So we've got Mark Edwards in the call. Mark, who goes by Satones on YouTube. He's from Detroit. He has a business model which is mining rare minerals on asteroids. It's very forward-thinking, Elon Musk type stuff. And he's already been talking to NASA and other companies in terms of getting this small robotics device he has onto certain ships up there in space. Mark, give us an update. How are you from Detroit?
What's happening, brother? First of all, happy birthday, man.
Yeah, happy birthday.
You a clear, concise mind, man. Financial prosperity and exuberant health to you, brother.
Thank you.
You're awesome. It's your day. And just to show you how much this man loves his job, he's on here working with us for his birthday. You rock, man. You're stellar. God save, brother. God bless you.
God bless you. I wouldn't be anywhere else, man. Thank you. It's good to see you.
I hear you, man. Thank you so much. So, yeah, I did, I do have an advisor now, as I was telling you, that's a quantum physicist. He graduated from Yale with a PhD in quantum physics. So that's going to be good for the advisor. Gianmarco, I was hearing you guys talk about like how to research TAM. A lot of entrepreneurs don't take access to this tool. The easiest tool to take access of is Google Analytics and Google Trends. You can jump right on there and take access, and it'll tell you about the companies, the TAM, the total addressable market, the competition, and things of that nature. So it's good to look up Google Analytics, and I think it's Google Demographics and Trends, and it'll do a whole map of what industry that you're in, bro, to give you all the feedback for it, and it's free.
Smart.
Okay. I'm checking that out right now.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening. That news just happened like a week ago or so. So that's the good thing about the quantum physicist. And like I said, he's working on the actual quantum internet, the next phase of the internet right now. And I'll probably post like a link of the video of the quantum internet that he's working on. He's out of New York, and there's a couple other startup companies that he's with right now too. So this is just like really, really good news for me, man, for the advisor. Just more credibility, and I owe that to you, so thanks, brother.
Oh, no, please, man. God bless you. It's great to see. And I hope you're staying warm. I see you got your Under Armour on there. Up in Detroit. It's freezing. Yeah, it's freezing. You know what I want to mention in terms of data, before I forget, Brian, Brian, this is for you. So when I used to work in the hedge fund industry, we would analyze fund flows, meaning inflows or outflows in mutual funds. And it's often overlooked, but it has a material impact on what the market's going to do. And so there were massive fund outflows in January of 2021 when the market bottomed. And so I would monitor that closely. Now, obviously, we've seen massive outflows, and the average American only saved 3% of their salary in the month of December, this past December, versus 9% a year before. But I would analyze that really closely, fund inflows and outflows, because that can be a good precursor in terms of what's going to happen with the market from a supply and demand perspective.
Yeah, the T. Rowe price just had 25% outflow.
Yeah.
And that's when I started loading up.
Yeah.
I usually tend to wait for things like that, but I can't imagine it gets much worse. That's T. Rowe price is huge.
Yeah, they're Baltimore. Yeah, you're huge.
Yeah, so, but they had lost 25% of all their clients. I mean, all the outflows just poured out.
Yeah.
And so that was December of last year. So that kind of hit me there, and I started telling people, I was like, I think this is it. I think we finally hit it. It can't get much worse than this.
Yeah. I think what I used to love looking at was when stocks would not go down, individual stocks would not go down on multiple negative data points, then they found a bottom. It's the same thing with shorts. If shorts don't go up on a couple of positive data points, then there's probably no more upside or downside, I should say, in the short. Yeah.
But this is why you stay away from trading. Yeah. You can't predict a lot of that stuff.
Exactly. You got to be long term. Always long term. Amen to that. Yeah.
About trading.
Yeah.
Like, I understand like insider trading is something, but since I've been on the finance also industry, isn't what Nancy Pelosi does insider trading? Like, I think it's impossible somebody to be so successful in something, and people that are their complete lives doing that are not successful as them. Like,
so her husband is incredibly wealthy from the investments industry, but my personal opinion is that government officials, Congress people, senators, etc., should not be allowed to buy stocks I think they should be allowed to invest in ETFs, like the SPY or ticker VOO. But I don't think they should be allowed to transact in stocks because, a large percent of revenue for a lot of companies is the United States government, and they're privy to certain information, like what the Fed might do with interest rates, et cetera. Yeah. And they're on all these subcommittees as well, which know too much about the economy. And when it comes to the United States government, the reason that we analyze data points that come out of the government, like jobless claims, unemployment, et cetera, interest rates, is because we get these data points on a weekly and a monthly basis. Unlike with companies, the only time we can find out how a company is really doing is 3 times or 4 times per year, every quarter. And so if these government officials have insight on the subcommittees that they're based on, in terms of what these economic data points might be, then that's not fair from a Reg FD or fair disclosure perspective. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's impossible to stop because I know a bunch of them here in DC.
Yeah.
And some of them, like certain congressmen, especially more so on the Democratic side than on the Republicans, will tend not to buy stocks. Nancy Pelosi was interesting because she gets the information, but she can't stop her husband from doing something on the side.
Yeah.
And so, no way to stop it. Now, they did make him sell out NVIDIA and a few other things when he found out that the government was going to give that big contract and bought him in advance. Then he had to take a loss because once that news came out, he made him sell everything. But they do it through other accounts too. So even if you limit what they're doing right there, they use their, kind of like Jordan Belfort used to do when he was building his firm. He would just get other people to buy the equity under their names, and he would just pay them to do that so he could still get that. That's the problem. You can't stop that. Even limiting them from that, they're just going to find other ways to do it.
Yeah.
It's almost a losing battle.
Yeah.
And for example, how would you how do they get paid for that? Because if, for example, they had the idea, they have people buying for them, like how did they get that money? Because the government's going to see when their money is going to come to them, right? How do they?
Not necessarily. I mean, there's lots of ways to do it. I'm not going to try to explain or teach how to bypass the laws.
Like offshore.
But let's just say these are smart enough people that they know how to do these things. We'll leave it at that.
Brother, I got a quick question for you. Did you hear about the Russia and Iran crypto Bitcoin being backed by gold now?
Well, no. What? No, what's happening with that?
Yeah, Russia and Iran are adopting Bitcoin and they're bagging it by gold, 100% backed by gold right now.
How is that possible? Yeah, they're 2 separate asset classes. I know that mining cryptocurrency is against the law in both countries. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what they did. Russia and Iran. It was inside of on Business Insider or Business Weekly. They did it, and it was announced at the votes.
Yeah,
the last votes conference. That was going on. So they're bagging their cryptos by gold now. Which is really funny because you got gold, and then you got black gold, the oil that they have over there that they have access to. So if they're bagging it by that way, it's just really interesting. They're going to do an exchange for oil and gold to back crypto for insurance or something.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's like a gold
standard. They don't have enough gold to do that.
Yeah, there's no way. They have, certainly both countries have enough oil. But that's
right. Yes.
Yeah. Bizarre.
Are you sure it wasn't oil? Because they call that black gold.
Yeah.
No.
Talking about.
No, I just use black gold, but no, it's gold. They're using gold to bag the cryptos up now. Research it, check it out and see. They're being trying to be early adopters. It's Russia and Iran made a deal together to try to bag cryptos by gold now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't heard much in terms of social unrest in Iran. It seems like it's died down. Is that still happening?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it. That was just like the latest news that I found out about that about like a week or two ago. So But I love you guys, man, and happy birthday to you once again.
Man. God bless.
I gotta call it one. Love you. God bless you too.
Love you more, brother. Good to see you, Mark. Take care, brother. I'll see you. Thanks.
Good to see you guys.
Thanks.
Welcome. You're welcome.
Thanks. Got a comment here from Melanie who wrote, "Does Chris have a Mary Poppins bag over there? How does it every possible prop on him?"
No, it can't be. It can't be, Chris. Every single thing we say, you have a prop for it.
I
can't possibly be.
I do. Okay, it was raining a lot recently, so I had this. Yeah.
Oh God.
Okay, now you have to sing a song.
I do. I will sing like Julie Andrews. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Spoonful of sugar.
That's right. Makes the medicine go down, baby. That's right. Yeah. 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 Cool. Excellent. Well, I've got to wrap up the call because we've got the silver office hours starting shortly. I see there's a ton of questions there still over YouTube. Please just copy them and paste them and ask me again next week. So God bless y'all. Susan, I'm looking forward to connecting with you. And Dylan, who's in the silver group, is joining here, and I'll see Dylan. I'll see you in a bit from South Africa, Dylan. Take care, guys. God bless.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, Chris.
Oh, I love it. Look at that. I love it. Susan, send me that email, support@harounventures.com, because we're going to make it happen. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, I love it.
It's his birthday.
Awesome. I love it. All right,
Yeah,
guys.
happy birthday.
Awesome. And Brian,
I'll
check out your email. I'll introduce you, Brian and Susan, to each other, as I mentioned, through email later today. Jean-Marco, great to see you as well, brother. And I'll catch up with you.
Are we going to have to call at 3?
Yeah. At your time.
Platinum? Yeah, my time. It's my time.
Yeah.
I think it's like 11 hours or something.
You can stay on for silver as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
gold and
on.
platinums can join silver. So
okay,
I'll be back. And Susan, you can stay on as well because you're part of the family. But I'll be back in a couple of minutes. I was going to wrap things up. Yeah. All right.
Okay,
thanks.
sure.
All right. Thanks.
Sure.
All right.
Hi, Jean-Marco.